The first thing that I wanted to do was bring up some news. This man found guilty of planting an infinite logic bomb on ex-employer's system. This is published by Graham Cluley. If you don't know Graham Cluley, definitely check him out, and also his podcast, Master Security. But most importantly, this article talks about this man who was found guilty because he implanted on his employer's network a infinite loop logic bomb. And what this logic bomb did was ultimately ate up system resources and kept their network hanging.
Yikes. I tell you, it's very interesting because many people are going to be laid off this year, especially with all the AI that's really being rolled out. You have to make sure that you secure the network and make sure who you're laying off. You make sure you cut the ties extremely quick. I mean, in Silicon Valley, once you give your 2-week notice, they usually just clip the ties right there and then.
Right.
And shut you down.
Companies like Walmart doesn't play that game
until it happens to them, and then they're going to play that game. It's something that you always have to think about. You always have to monitor. You always have to look at it, because this gentleman could really, one person disgruntled, could just go ahead and ruin or halt operations for a company. Or a disgruntled employee. I remember I was working at a large organization. One person emailed the entire company and just went in on the CEO. You have things like that. You have to put protections in place and make sure that things like this do not happen. And it's very hard, but you have to put that brown bag scenario. What happens if? And these are the things that you're going to see. I think he's going to be facing like 10 years in jail. So
the big takeaway from me for this one is, how would you find it if someone were to do this? And fortunately for this organization that got hacked by their own employee, he named it after himself. He said, "Is DL enabled NAD?" That was the name of this job that was running, that was ultimately eating up all these resources. I wonder, especially, we work together at large companies.
Yeah.
Do you think that we would have been able to find something like this if it wasn't so obviously named?
Absolutely not. Not at the large corporation that we worked in. It's too big. It's very hard. I mean, if it's something extremely obvious, right, and you could trace it down and then you have the audit trails to do so, potentially, yeah. But if you have what's the difference between a insider threat and someone, that creates something that looks like an adversary? You'll easily confuse them. Right? So it is very difficult, but this is why you have to put certain things in place to make sure that you're constantly monitoring what is important. Obviously, having your business resources compromised and it not delivering services costs a lot of money, and that's an issue.